less. And they're going to tell us to be broke and be happy. You remember the old line of the World Economic Forum? Look, bro, you will own nothing and be happy. And if you complain about it, well, hey, man, I mean, you could bitch to your wall, your cracking wall with your cracked screen in your broke ass apartment. Okay, bro? Okay. Shout out to the World Economic Forum.
As the war against Iran continues to rake Americans across the coals, economically, of course, President Donald Trump decided to dispatch Vice President J.D. Vance to soften the blow with the American people. You know, just twist the narrative in any way he can to make them think that, no, things are totally going well. I am putting lipstick on a pig, and I think you're dumb enough to believe it. It didn't go well because Americans actually aren't dumb. They know what's going on. So here's the reality. Small businesses with fewer than 250 employees were actually responsible for half of all the new jobs that were created in the past 5 years. Yeah. So small businesses are a really important, integral part of our economic system. True. And to be honest with you, small businesses are way better than major multinational corporations.
Oh, for sure. They don't sell products that poison you and all that crazy stuff. That's why I hate when small businesses sell out to big corporations, because those products that we love so much, they're now adding all the things that can kill you. That's what I always say. You want to go with the family-owned businesses, and I mean almost for everything. Because anything you buy corporate has poison in it to try to kill you, make it addicted to the product, or just destroy your DNA. I mean, it's really outrageous. I'm gonna be real with you. These corporations are outright evil, especially the food ones. They're the most duplicitous group of people in the world, in my eyes, because they put poison in their food. They know they're doing it. They're just doing it for a profit, and they're pushing it to the American people. And some of these people are American themselves in doing this. This is like one of the highest forms of treason, but we just let them do it.
Services are usually better, the products are usually better, and they make communities better. But unfortunately, now it turns out that these small businesses are suffering deeply from the rising energy and labor costs associated with the war against Iran. So not only are we spending, that we know of, tens of billions of dollars to fight Israel's war against Iran, not only are we depleting our military weaponry, including missile interceptors, in an effort to do Israel's bidding, on top of that, we are destroying the global economy, including the national economy. And that's because oil and gas makes the world go round. As much as, those concerned with climate change hate to admit it, it's just the truth. And when you have lost access or supply and energy prices go up as a result of that, that has a trickle-down effect on the rest of the economy. So the in-depth analysis that I was referring to was carried out by the Bank of America Institute. And I love these types of reports because they tend to be a lot more accurate. These are the types of reports that help these types of financial institutions make decisions about their businesses. So they want to be as accurate as possible. So let's take a look at this first graph. Let's put this up on screen. So it shows that small business profitability growth actually declined by 1.3% year over year in April. That's the sharpest decline in 2 years. That's not a good.
And this is why I say don't listen to Trump when he talks about, the stock market, because those are big corporations turning over a profit, and they usually do, no matter how bad the market is sometimes. But the small businesses, yeah, not them so much. They can't take the brunt of rising energy costs and rising fertilizer costs across the board. They just can't do it. I mean, they can take it for a couple months or maybe a week or so, but continuously is going to eat at their profitability, and eventually they'll just be breaking even, or God forbid, just in the red.
Sign, and you can see it's a pretty steep decline. Now, Axios notes, and by the way, according to the April National Federation of Independent Businesses, they put out a report. They say that consistent with the falling profitability growth and lower sales, small business optimism remained below the 52-year average. This reflects persistent concerns about labor availability, inflation, and uncertainty about the economic outlook.
Now, I ain't uncertain about no economic outlook. Maybe because I'm just too positive to be uncertain. But I mean, full transparency, you don't think my cost done rose? Like, bro, energy cost done rose. They done increase the inscription on YouTube Premium for some strange reason. Like, bro, really? But it is what it is. I mean, even internet cost went up. And I mean, I think the biggest expenditure that actually went up was how much I pay per kilowatt for my electric bill, which of course, like I said, is all good. But I can't pretend like an extra $75 a month, it ain't like hitting me. It's like, what? Bruh. But like I said, it is what it is. And I'm all right. But guys, as a small media channel, as a channel with 100K subscribers, basically a small media business, yeah, my cost went up most definitely.
I don't really know what they're referring to when they talk about labor availability, especially as a ton of people have already gotten fired because of AI. So maybe they're referring to certain types of workers, who knows, in certain fields. But Axios notes that this change in our economic situation, which wasn't that great to begin with, let's be clear, that came after gas prices spiked due to the Iran war, which shut down the Strait of Hormuz, a critical global shipping lane for energy. Kind of shocking that Axios of all places published that. I thought Axios was just, serving as it pertains to the war against Iran or anything having to do with Israel. I thought they were just stenographers for the administration, but I guess not. So the Bank of America report further broke down the cost of gasoline. Let's take a look at this graph. So looking at aggregated small business credit and debit card spending by small businesses, they found the gasoline spending growth surged nearly 31% year over year in April. That is unsustainable, guys.
Bruh.
That is unsustainable. So we've been at war with Iran for 2 months.
Oh man, especially if your business depends on transportation of, I don't know, let's say you're truck driving business. God forbid, you're really eating it. I mean, bro, if you need to get your items transported, which everybody does, yes, that's definitely eating out of your profitability. So yeah, high gas prices is going to lead to higher prices across the board. If these guys got to go ahead and eat this gas price, they're not going to eat it for long. They're going to go ahead and pass it on to the consumer, just like you guys were fear mongering about tariffs. And this is what I always do say. I mean, guys, look, bro, increase in pricing is always going to affect items, or is always going to affect the consumer price index, especially when it comes to gas. Rising gas prices is always going to be way more inflationary than tariffs. I'll tell you that. Because it's kind of something that you really can't avoid passing down, especially with rising gas costs, is because it's your overall necessity to even get your product. I mean, some people actually need gas to make their product, like fertilizer companies.
Months already.
Oil.
Small businesses are spending 31% more on gasoline. That's almost 8 times the total card spending growth per small business client. And surprisingly, despite the horrible economic news, more people are optimistic enough to attempt to start small businesses. However, the associated costs are making things much harder for them to do so. But Trump sent out VP Vance to attempt to soften the blow for Americans, to put that lipstick on that big pig, right? Did it work? I'm gonna let you watch the video. You can decide for yourselves.
And then finally, just to give an update on the Iran negotiation, the Iran situation. I just talked to the president very briefly before I came out here. It's actually a very simple proposition here. There are 2 options, 2 pathways we can go down when it comes to the Iran situation.
Oh, the Iran situation. Wow, it's a wild way to characterize a war that you started against a country of 92 million people, but never to be outdone. Vance went on to say the following.
The White House is negotiating with Iran in good faith. I think Americans tend to believe that, but what is it about the Iranian side that you personally have seen where you believe that they are negotiating with us in good faith?
Well, first of all, I'd say it's a very complicated country.
I mean, here's the problem. Good faith to them means that Iran concedes everything. That's good faith. It's not the good faith, argument or good faith agreement that me and you would probably have, where we got to come to concessions and meet in the middle. No, a good faith to them is that, oh, well, you concede everything. You pretty much kiss my ass and kiss my ring. And there you go. That means that's in good faith to America, apparently, which is absolutely hilarious. I'd rather them just be honest and say, look, man, they're not kissing my ass the way they wanted. They didn't kiss my toes, and they forgot to kiss a special part of my ring. And until they do that and completely concede, I mean, we're not believing that they're arguing or they're negotiating in good faith. If they just be honest, I'll be able to accept it better.
And it's a country that I wouldn't pretend that I understand, even after as deep as I've been involved in this process from the very beginning. It's a great and proud civilization, amazing people. We obviously have a great Iranian American community here in the United States of America.
So we went to war with a country that you don't quite understand.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Well, things didn't get any better after he admitted that he didn't fully understand the country that his administration is currently trying to topple. But when asked about Americans and their perception about the on again, off again negotiations with the Iranians, Vance offered up, honestly, what you could probably hear from Kamala Harris if she was asked the same question. A lot of word salad. Someone get the ranch dressing. Let's take a look.
Just for Americans at home, because this has been going on for several weeks now. I think what people just want to know is, do you personally believe that the Iranians will come to a deal? Because we keep seeing this over and over again where they go back and forth.
So do I personally believe it? The honest answer is, how could I possibly know, right? And you negotiate with people, and sometimes you feel like you're making progress, and sometimes you feel like you're not making progress. What I think is that the Iranians want to make a deal. What I think is that the Iranians recognize that a nuclear weapon is the red line for the United States of America, that they've internalized that, but we're not going to know until we're actually putting pen to paper on signing a deal. We've had a lot of drafts, a lot of pieces of paper going back and forth, but I will not say.
The funniest part about that whole red line, Iran having a nuclear weapon mean a red line. Here's the thing. There would be no line to cross if they had a nuclear weapon. We just leave them the F alone. That's just the sad reality of it. Just like we did North Korea, we do the same thing with Iran. Just leave them alone. They got a nuke now.
With confidence that we're going to reach a deal until we're actually signing a negotiated settlement here. And I think that it's ultimately up to the Iranians whether they're willing to meet us, because I think we're certainly doing a good job, and we're certainly negotiating in good faith.
Let us dispel the notion that a peace deal would simply need to be reached between the United States and Iran in order to end this war, as if Israel isn't a huge part of this equation. So let's just be honest. The reason why JD Vance provided a word salad answer to that good question, although let me just say, the idea that all Americans are under the assumption that the US is engaging in good faith or negotiating in good faith is laughable. So that part of her question made me chuckle a little bit. Yeah, but putting that aside, it was a good question. And the reason why he couldn't really give a good answer is because he can't admit what the reality is.
Let's be real. Like, a good faith negotiation is not you demanding complete surrender. That's not good faith.
This war will not end until Israel wants it to end. Israel doesn't want it to end. In fact, Israel would like to escalate the situation and go back to bombing the hell out of the very Iranian people.
Hey, shout out Ayu. I like the way that at says so I'm gonna call you Ayu. So shout out Ayu for sending 100 for 2 jewels. Appreciate the support, sis.
I'm pretending to love, and I'm saying nice things about. So I do agree with Vance on one thing, although I'm a little bit different in my reasoning. It is up to the Iranians whether the war ends. Iran has the cards. They won the war. They control the Strait of Hormuz. They're never going to let that go. So if you'd want the kinetic action to end once and for all, give Israel a reason to not want to continue with the war. Yeah, I said it. They're running low on interceptors. The US doesn't have interceptors to give.
Honestly, I'll be real with you. It's going to be hard to get this, to get a ceasefire done with Iran, because they're asking us to stop the war on all fronts. That means including the fronts that Israel is starting wars on. So that means we got to tell Israel to cool it with Hamas, in Gaza. We got to tell Israel to cool it with Hezbollah in Lebanon. And they're not willing to do that because they are trying to take their land. So we're kind of messing up the whole greater Israel project. But if we were to walk away and say, yo, Israel, look, we're going to leave you with Iran, then if you don't back off, then trust me, they'll back off. But they're only doing this because, well, we're kind of shielding them from the backlash that Iran would have gave them if they were to do this without us.
We're running low on interceptors. So if Netanyahu wants more kinetic action, I think Iran should give him more kinetic action.
Done.
Until he cries uncle.
Basically what I said.
Otherwise, we're going to be stuck in this quagmire for years to come. And I mean that. The ball is in Iran's court. But what's amazing to me
bro, we